Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we're taking a look at Engines to the Rescue. So this was a Walmart exclusive back in the day. It was released on September 9, 2014, and it was included in a double pack with a digital version of Tale of the Brave. I have the box right here. I'll go into more detail on this later, but yeah, this is the only way you could get this DVD. It wasn't released anywhere else. It was released in Greek in 2017, or in Greece, excuse me. I don't freaking know, but yeah, this is a pretty rare release. I'd say this is probably one of the rarest Thomas DVDs. Thomas home media stuff isn't really that rare. I mean, you got like Thomas's Christmas Wonderland on DVD, Tales on the Tracks on VHS. And then you got this. Those are like the three of the rarest items. But I'd say this one's probably the easiest to find, I suppose. I don't know. It's really hard to say. I got mine on eBay. Probably let me look on my eBay searches really quick. September of this year, and I got the pack sealed for $30, which was a little more than I would have wanted to pay for it, but it's fine, whatever. At least I didn't pay over $40 for it. That's pushing it a little bit. But anyways, let's stop rambling and take a look here. So up there we have an interesting logo. We have Engines to the Rescue under the Thomas logo. I guess that's kind of supposed to represent like a firefighter's crest or logo or something. I don't know. We got Bell and Flynn in the back, and then Thomas. Looks like the same Thomas from the back of Trouble on the Tracks. Maybe a little bit different, but oh well. This poster art is actually not the greatest. I don't really like it that much. There's a lot of like blurring, and the colors are very flat, and it's just not the most interesting, but oh well. On the side here, we got the Hit logo, Thomas Burns logo, Engines to the Rescue, Thomas DVD. We haven't had the DVD logo in a while, I don't believe. Nope. Lionsgate did not put that on the side, but Universal does now. As you can see right there, we have the Universal logo. This is the first Universal release, not counting Tale of the Brave. So that's pretty cool there. In the back, Thomas logo again. Help is on the way. There is your description. Harold, Thomas, Flynn. Oh, Flynn, Bell. And bonus features. I don't know what those two asterisks are. They don't go anywhere. Do they? I don't see. Whatever. But we have Hey Hey Thomas music video, Working Together Again music video, and Guess Who puzzles. I've already ranted about how dumb it is that they don't include like Mr. Perkins or like the Earl's quiz on here, but whatever, it's fine. So I was very happy to find this pack sealed, but one of the main detractors is that, you'll see in a minute, but that box is so damaged. And my case is actually broken. It doesn't close all the way. So that kind of sucks. Like you can see it's cracked up here and over here as well. So not the greatest, but whatever. Here is the disc. The post art has changed a little bit, and the disc, this is the era where the discs start to feel really cheap. There's no, like, it doesn't feel very glossy, if you understand what I'm saying, but it just doesn't really feel that great or anything. And that's really Universal's fault. Not really fault, but that's just the way they decided to make the discs. Here is an example of Universal's new case. Like I said earlier, they do a pretty good job at filling in the entire case. I was actually watching the Christmas Engines just before filming this. And that case is an eco case, but the recycling logo is all filled in, so it's just like an outline. So we'll look behind the disc and see if it's protected. Yes, it is. That's good. Yeah, the plastic is noticeably cheaper. Like, there are some circles here. I don't know what they're doing. And it's just, like, bending really weird. Like, you can't really see it, but it's kind of like there are, like, seams here. It gets really bad on, like, reprints and stuff and a lot of later releases, but it's not that bad here, so. So while the physical release is lacking a lot of quality, the episode selection is definitely not. We have Too Many Fire Engines, The Phantom Express, Bill or Ben, Henry's Hero, and Not Now Charlie. Most of these episodes are really, really good. Just to start off, before I talk about the episodes, I want to touch on something quickly. The menus for the DVD actually use the opening from the Misty Island rescue credits, like that kind of Pirates of the Caribbean baby music, which is a very interesting choice to me. I would have thought maybe they would have used like a more heroic theme, but whatever. Very interesting choice, but Too Many Fire Engines. This story actually tends to get a lot of hate on Twitter. I've seen that recently, and I don't really get it. I mean, it's not like a terrible story, but it's not anything to write home about. I'll read through the bullet points here. The three railway inspectors add a sense of humor that we were really lacking in Thomas. They are used a bit too much. Like the two guys will say actually some informative stuff to Sir Topham Hatt, and then the other guy will like, which gets a little annoying. I think they do that about 4 or 5 times in the episode, which, like I said, gets a bit repetitive, but it's still nice to see that kind of humor in Thomas. A little minor thing. The Misty Island Tunnel is still boarded up, which is great. I think, unfortunately, it does get unboarded up, or the boards get taken down later on, but at least in season 17, it's boarded up. And I think the reason is because when Nitrogen was transferring all of their animation files over to ARC, the Rescue Center file actually got lost, so ARC had to completely remake the Rescue Center all by hand. At least that's what I'm reading on the wiki. And I just guess they looked at pictures before the end of Misty Island Rescue, so thank God for that. Or maybe it was just Andrew Brenner being like, hey, we don't like the logging locos. Can you just put some boards in the tunnel? Thanks. I love Steven's line towards the middle of the episode. He says, you mean gunpowder and chemicals? That's a joke for the adults to chuckle at. I just thought that was really, really funny. Nice play on a nice play on Cinders and Ashes. That's really funny. Flynn actually feels like a character now. I wasn't really a huge fan of him and Belle at all in Day of the Diesels or like season 15, but he's actually not annoying here. He doesn't monologue every 5 seconds, and he actually uses his head when it comes to putting out fires in a safe and quick manner, and I really, really like that. Yeah, that's really all I have to say this episode. I thought I would have more to say, but there aren't many notable points. I mean, it's still interesting, but it's not like the greatest story ever. But it's not bad, far from it. It's very, very good. And it actually justifies something in the Miller era. Yeah, a general bystander will be like, hey, isn't it kind of dumb that the island has 2 fire engines? Wouldn't 1 be enough? But no, I think 2 actually would be perfectly fine. And yes, while Flynn and Belle are both stupid designs and they aren't the greatest characters, they are much more tolerable here and for the rest of this era than they were previously. So I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. And again, like I said earlier, it's not the greatest story in the world, but it's not bad at all. I'll briefly go over the bonus features. So we have those ones that were listed on the back. Then we have calling all engines, Sir Topham Hatt shouts out Edward and Emily. Mr. Perkins' story time, he reads Thomas and the Breakdown Train. And then Mr. Perkins also sends a postcard of the Sodor Steamworks. And then we have the Earl's Quiz, Pingy Pongy Pickup, and Double Trouble. So if you're interested in that, there you go. The Phantom Express. It's not horrible. I really, really don't like it when James is an asshole to Percy for no reason. That's really one of the main killing points of Tale of the Brave for me. I don't really like the movie. I think I've grown more fondness towards it since I did my last episode on it back in the day. But it's still not like the greatest. It's not top 5 for me. It's probably like 8. But yeah, I don't like that part of the movie at all. And this episode is also not very good at showing that. Just like Percy's Lucky Day, I really like the Percy and Steven dynamic. It feels very like student and mentor. Another thing that I wasn't a huge fan of, I felt that it was a bit out of character for Steven to be scared of that and just run back to the gate and into the moat. Although I do love his line, well, no, that wasn't very clever. No, it wasn't. That was really funny. And then when Percy falls on the moat, Steven says, I see you found the meeting place, which that also made me laugh. It's those kinds of quips that make adults chuckle and makes them more invested in the story. The scene where James meets Sir Topham Hatt at the bakery gave me real Flower Power vibes, that episode from season 9. That was an episode that I used to watch a lot as a kid, so it was nice to see that little reference. And I kind of like how James gets, quote-unquote, grounded. He's like, you'll have to pull Percy's mail train for a whole month or something. That's just kind of silly to me. I don't know, but yeah, fine episode. Literally right in the middle. It's not great. It's not terrible. Oh, it's not right in the middle, but it's a little bit better. So 6 out of 10. Okay, now this is the story that I've been hyping up for a while. Bill or Ben. I friggin' love this story. It's my personal favorite of season 17. Now, I mentioned how I used to watch Toad's Adventure a lot when it came out before I went to school, and the same goes for this episode. I used to watch this all the friggin' time because I was like, oh my god, Bill and Ben are back, and they're so funny too. Now, I'm going to be making a top 10 CGI episodes video on Turbo 711, so I won't say much about this episode because I don't want to spoil that video, but I do think that Bill and Ben are the best returnees out of the whole series. I also really, really like how I get to spend time with Connor. We get to learn a bit more about his personality. And yeah, really cool. And I also really, really like Blue, Bill, and Ben. They look so good. So yeah, 11 out of 10. This episode is so great. Speaking of great, we got another great episode, Henry's Hero. The Unlucky Tug back in 2020 made an episode or video on this episode, so I would recommend you go and check that out because he highlights a lot of great points. But yeah, this episode is also phenomenal. We didn't really get to explore the Henry and Hero dynamic that much, but I think it's a character pairing that could have been really interesting if they kept that up in the next few seasons. But yeah, it's great. Probably the most notable thing about the story is Duck. This was the very first episode that Duck had appeared in since season 12. And I remember back in 2013, everybody was flipping out. I don't even think... I think we knew Duck was coming back, but I don't think we knew he was going to be back in this story. So it was really cool to see him for the first time. I think that shot of Duck coming around the corner is probably one of the most iconic and most replayed scenes in all of the CGI series. But yeah, I love the episode. It's a concept that Thomas hasn't really dabbled in before, and I love how they pull it off. Henry's character here is phenomenal, and it trumps everything from the past 13 years or so. These two are really great role models for the kids watching, and I can see why they're some of the most popular characters. I can't think of any really notable faults besides the lacking visuals. The train consists and starts to get really weird and inconsistent. I don't really like that at all. But yeah, other than that, phenomenal story. Another 10 out of it. Well, not another, but it's a 10 out of 10. It's not as great as Bill or Ben, but it's still a phenomenal story. And we've come to the last episode, Not Now, Charlie. Now, this is an episode in theory that you would think you would hate, but it's actually not that bad for one. I really like Charlie's voice. I believe he got a new voice actor around season 15, season 16 in the US. And that's the voice that I actually really associate with him. I'm not a huge fan of the voice he had in season 13 and that kind of era. It just sounds too deep and old to me. No offense to Glenn Rage who voiced him, but that just didn't really sound very good to me. But I love this new Ben Small voice. The jokes are actually somewhat funny and clever here, excuse me. They're not as they're not great jokes. They're not like the most phenomenal or well written jokes, but they're a lot better than they were in like season 14, season 15. So I love that. There are also a lot of like hilarious little bits of animation that don't really they're like side bits of animation. For example, when Charlie first finds the elephant, I love his driver's reaction. He's like scratching his head like, oh, what are we going to do? And then he's like, aha, I'll pull the whistle. That's really funny to me. I just found that absolutely rip tickling. And there's also a really hilarious gag with some workers in a newspaper at the rescue center just as Harold is taking off. The newspaper that one of these guys was reading gets like blown away, so that was really funny to me as well. And this episode is basically just the boy who cried wolf with trains, but it's a really good moral for the kids, and Charlie, I think, was the perfect character to use for it. I mentioned Cranky and how funny he was in Trouble on the Tracks, but again, he's very, very funny here. His reactions to the elephant and his like fed upness is really funny to watch. And my last major point, Charlie is handled very well here. I mentioned that earlier, but I mentioned in Railway Mischief and some of the earlier releases, but my favorite thing about Season 17 is that it took the Miller CGI characters like Kevin and Scruff and Stafford and Winston and such that had like no character traits and actually gave them stories and made them interesting. And I think out of all of those side characters, Charlie was handled the best. I really wish he didn't tell a joke again like the episode did state before it ended, but whatever. At least we never got to really see Charlie that much again. But yeah, I think this episode is really, really great. Again, it's not like the best episode ever, but I think it's a lot of fun. So yeah, 8 out of 10. So overall, this release is pretty great. I would say it's probably the best Season 17 release. I really like Spills and Thrills as well, but I mean, it's got Bill Urban and Henry Tyrrell in here, and they're great stories. So, yeah. Before I end, I just want to show off the box that this came in, because I know some of you might be interested, but it's kind of hard to get a good shot. I'll go back as far as I can, but here is the box. It's not like crazy big. I mean, it's pretty much the exact same height as the DVD, but yeah, it's kind of cool. So up there, we'll go through the whole thing here. So we got Thomas & Friends Limited Edition 2-pack, all new movie on digital HD to watch on Vudu on your favorite devices, plus the exclusive 5-episode DVD. So we got Tell the Brave over there. Yep, this is a digital HD version. There is no like case in here or disc itself. And then here is the panel for the DVD. First time in DVD and the only time really. Let's go to the side here. Same thing. It's on the top. We got Universal right there. Same on this side, although this is very crunched up, and this is the part that I was not very like happy with. But oh well. And the backs are pretty much just the same as their DVD cases. Although some things are moved around. Pretty standard. So I will open this up here. Let's go here. So this side has, it's kind of stuck in there. So this side has the Tale the Brave thing on it. It's actually a really nice material. So it's pretty much the same thing as on the front. On the back here, it's how you use it. I don't believe the Thomas movies are on Vudu anymore, so you can't really use this, but it expired in 2015, so oh well. Yeah, that's pretty cool. And then let's get on the other side here. There we go. That is where, let me just take this off the stand for a second. It's really hard to get a good shot, but that is where the disc was. So yeah, that's pretty much the release here. And that's all I have to say about this episode, or this release here, and that's it. I'm sorry, I'm filming this back to back while recording those other episodes, like I said earlier, so I'm kind of burned out, but oh yeah. that's it. Hope you guys are enjoying the series. I want to thank you all so much for 100 episodes. Sorry that I'm not as enthusiastic for that, but I'm just really tired. But I have really enjoyed doing this series, even though it doesn't get like crazy views or we don't have a lot of subscribers. It's just really fun for me to sit back and relax and hang out with you guys, because I don't really do that much on Turbo 711. But yeah, the series is almost done. We have, I think, 3-4 weeks left of the year. So the show will run into the new year, but I don't think for that long, probably until end of February maybe. So yeah, that's all I have for you guys today. So I will see you next week with the Christmas Engine. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye. I gotta take another nap. Holy crap.